Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyo Vamsha Rishibhyo Namo Gurubhyaha. We were on the 23rd Vakya in this Vainjyotis Brahmanam, and we had already seen the Bhashya for this first part, correct? Yadvai tanna pashyati, pashyanvai tanna pashyati, nahi drashtuhu drishtehe, viparilopo vidyate avinashitva. So this is a very important statement that the seer of the sight never stops or never ceases, because that seer is indestructible. Okay, it cannot be destroyed. That is the Atma Swarupa. And even in sleep, it remains the same Jyoti Swarupa only. Even though it does not see anything, its capacity to see, that is to be conscious, does not go away. It is the same. That's why it says Pashyan Vai. Even though it is of the same nature, even in deep sleep, Tanna Pashyati means, but it does not see anything because there is nothing to be seen there. Okay. In fact, Tanna Pashyati only is explained in the next line here. Natu tad dvitiyam asti tataha anyad vibhaktam yad pashye. So now for this we have to see the Bhashya. Now in this first sentence, there were some questions and all were raised, correct? How can, if you see that, if you say that Atma itself has a side, means it can become anityam, correct? Because any karma is anitya. And seeing is a karma. It is a action. Therefore, it should have a start and it should have a beginning. Now, this was answered by Bhashyakara with the analogy of the sun. We do say that the sun is lighting up something. That doesn't mean that the sun becomes or it starts to become bright only then, correct? That means it has a start of or a start time for it to be bright, and then once the lighting up is over, it will again become dark or anything like that. Sun is always bright, is of the always of the same swarupa. So when we say sun is lighting up something, it is simply only saying that the sun is actually shining on that, nothing much, correct? Similarly, the drashtritvam for Atma also, the trich pratyaya itself comes only for anitya karma and all that also. It was argued from a grammatical standpoint. Okay, that anitya kriya kartri vishaya only is the trich pratyaya. Like that it was said. But I think it was somewhere there here. Correct? That was the last argument. Here, see. Anitya kriya kartri vishayaha eva trich pratyayantasya shabdasya prayogaha drishtaha yata cheta bheta ganta and all that. So the trich pratyaya comes in the meaning of the agent, and that agent, whatever action that agent does is anitya only, like cutting or going or whatever, correct? But therefore, this drashta also should be like that is the point. But Bhashyakara says there is also prakashayita, and the prakashayitritvam is there in the sun, we say. Sun is the one which lights up, correct? Sun is the lighter, let us say, or one which shines and reveals something. Sun is the revealer, but that revealing kriya and all does not start in sun, okay? So, that's why the Shruti also says, the viparilopaha na vidyate. Okay. And another thing is what? Na pashyami. Also we say, correct? That was given as an argument. Then how can you say this Atma is always seeing? Means the na pashyami is only with reference to the karana vyapara. If the karana vyapara is not there, if we do not use our eyes, then we say I did not see it or I do not see anything. But the Atma Drishti never goes away. Even for that, Bhashyakara gave one example of even for the one from whom the eyes have been gouged out or taken away. In the Swapna, that person still sees things, correct? That means the Atma Drishti is very much there. The capacity of the Atma to be conscious and have sight is still there. Therefore, this Atma Swarupa is aviparilupta swabhava only, correct? The drishti, the Atmanaha drishti, the sight of the Atma is never stopping. It is unceasing. That is its very nature. And therefore, because of that only what? This Atma is Swayam Jyotihi, and by its very nature, even though it is seeing, it is always seeing, it is always conscious, it is always aware, but it does not see in Sushupti. Okay. And further, that next line is now being commented upon by Bhashyakara. He says, Katham tarhi na pashyati iti uchyate. So why does the Atma does not see in the sleep means natu tadasti, because it is not there. What is not there? Kim tat dvitiyam vishaya bhutam. There is nothing. The second thing is not there. Correct? As an object to be perceived, the second thing is not there. But even there, one more point. What kind of second thing or how, what characteristic that second thing should have so that the Atma can see it? Means tataha drashtuhu anyatvena vibhaktam yat pashyet yad upalabheta. So even the second thing should have certain qualifications. What is that? Means it has to be other than the seer. Like the eyes cannot see itself, correct? Or even eyes cannot see its own color or whatever dharma which is there in it. So even the second thing should be something separate, vibhakta, other than the seer. So drashtuhu anyate and anyatvena vibhaktam, that which is other than the seer and that which is separated, okay, which is available to be seen, correct? Which is available and which can be seen. Yat pashyet, yat upalabheta. Now, like that, it is not there in sleep. Okay. So, yadhi tad vishesha darshana karanam antakaranam chakshurupam cha tat avidyaya anyatvena pratyupasthapitam asit. Okay, see, whatever, even in the dream and in the waking, this vishesha darshana karana. So, the cause or the hetu for having this sight of something, correct? With all the qualifications, that karanam, which is antakarana, right, which is the mind, and also the indriyas like chakshu, etc., and also the vishaya, rupa. See, all three has to be there. Mind has to be there, the indriya has to be there, the indriya vishaya has to be there. Again, here chakshu rupam is special sandhi, okay? The sakara, chakshus, that sakara, again, lopa happens, and in the previous ukara becomes u. So that is the chakshu rupam. There is a sutra for this Rory and then one more. So you can go and check whoever is a grammatical person. So anyway, so the karana, the antakarana, the eyes and the objects which are in the like which have forms etc. for the eyes to see, all that, okay, tat avidyaya anyatvena pratyupasthapitam, means those things, all the three are there only due to ignorance, avidyaya, as though it is separate from the Atma. Okay, anyatvena. So it is all projected by this avidya, presented by this avidya, and that is, but that's not discriminated. So people take it as reality. But in the sleep, even that is not there. Correct? The avidya, even though avidya bija is there, but the avidya karya in the form of whatever, the antakarana, chakshus, and the indriya vishaya, they are not there. Therefore, that is what is said here. Tat etasmin kale eki bhutam. So in the sleep, all these three have become one. Okay. Excuse me. Why? Because Atmanaha Parena Parishwangat. Because the Jivatma, the Atma, has become one with the Paramatma. I mean, it has embraced the Paramatma, and therefore it is all, there is only oneness there. These three things are not there separately. And so, because there is oneness, what? The sight is not possible, and sight is possible only when this seer who is limited, and then there are the instruments other than the seer which are there, and the objects other than the seer also have to be there. So that is what again Bhashyakara says, Drashturhi Parichinnasya Vishesha Darshanaya Karanam Anyatvenam Vyavatisthate. So for the sight to happen, there has to be the seer who is limited, and for that seer to have special cognition, correct, or seeing of something separately, there has to also be the karana, the eyes also have to function. It has to be, all those things have to be separate from each other, correct? Anyatvena vyavatisthate, they have to be there separately. But in the sleep, what? Ayam tu svena sarvatmana samparishvaktaha. But in the sleep, one has embraced, or one has become one with the Paramatma, which is Sarvatma. Sarvatma means what? Self of all, or the one who has become all. The self itself has become all in sleep. Therefore, there is no separate entities. So there is no separateness. Therefore, there is only one. Because one has embraced the self of all. And svena parena prajnena atmana priyaya iva purushaha. So samparishvakta means again one has become one's own Paramatma only, and one has embraced as though one has embraced a loving wife and all that. Priya Iva Purushaha. This was the analogy given by the Upanishad itself, correct? Before, same thing Bhashyakara says. The Ekatvam is there basically, and therefore one has become one with the Paramatma, which is the Sarvatma, which is also called Prajna here, correct? Prajnana Atmana, and therefore one doesn't see anything. So, tena na prithaktvena vyavasthitani karanani vishayascha. So, because of this oneness, what? There is no separately, there is no vyavastha of the, or there is no existence of the instruments and the objects of knowledge. Separately, they are not there. Therefore, tad abhavat vishesha darshanam nasti. Therefore, if since it is not there, the vishesha darshana, or the cognizing of an object, is not there separately. The cognizing or seeing of a particular object is not there. Therefore, from all these things, what do we understand? Important thing. So Bhashyakara is now telling that Karanadi Kritam hi tat means any sight, or not only sight, any sense perception, correct? Whether it is sight, hearing, touch, taste, smell, all the things, they are all there only due to the Karana. Atma is not really the seer. Understand that again, that whatever we say, correct? B is A is not B. Beggar is actor, actor is not beggar. Same thing applies here. Seer is Atma, Atma is not seer. Hearer is Atma, Atma is not hearer. Smeller is Atma, Atma is not smeller. Correct? Like that you can extend to everything else. So, all this, what? Karanadi Kritam Hitat, it's all due to only the Karana. It's Karana Upadhi, basically, Anta Karana and the other Karanas. Na Atma Kritam. Atma does not really do anything. Like even the sun does not really light up anything. Understand that. Sun is there as it is always bright. But we take it has brightened up something and all that. So Atma is there in its very presence only. All these things are happening, and then we attribute it to the Atma. That's what really happens. Okay. So it is not Atma Kritam. Atma is not really doing anything. But Atma Kritam Iva Pratyava Bhasate. It looks as though it is being done by the Atma. Okay. So it appears as though it has been done by the Atma, but really everything is only the Karanas only are active and Atma is only lighting up. So that's all is happening. Therefore, what? Tasmat tat krita yam bhranti. Therefore, so it is all the bhranti, the erroneous cognition. This erroneous cognition is due to that. What erroneous cognition? Atmanaha drishtihi parilupyate iti. So to think that the ability to see for the Atma comes to an end that I don't see. Like that people say, correct? That is really only a Bhranti. It is erroneous because Atma is that consciousness which also knows whether your eyes are seeing or not. So that consciousness never stops seeing. It is always seeing only. Even if you don't see anything, it is still seeing. That is the idea. So you should not have this Bhranti that I cannot see or my sight comes to an end if I close my eyes, things like that. So that is only a Bhranti or erroneous cognition or delusion, really speaking. Bhranti means you can take it as delusion also. And it is created by this idea that Atma is the Karta. Okay. Okay. So now, in fact, the Upanishad is very thorough. It doesn't stop with only Drishti, it keeps on going. So we'll just read all these things. Even Bhashyakara has not commented on all these things because it is the same. Okay. Yadvai tanna jigrati जिग्रन् वै तन्न जिग्रति न हि घ्रातुर्घ्रातेर्विपरिलोपो विद्यते अविनाशित्वात् न तु तद्वितीयम् अस्ति ततः अन्यत् विभक्तं यज्जिघ्रेत् यद्वै तन्न रसयते रसयन् वै तन्न रसयते न हि रसयतु रसयत् रसयतेर्विपरिलोपो विद्यते अविनाशित्वात् न तु तद्वितीयमस्ति ततो अन्यद् विभक्तं यद् रसयेत् यद्वै तन्न वदति वदन् वै तन्न वदति न हि वक्तुर्वक्तेर्विपरिलोपो विद्यते अविनाशित्वात् न तु तद्वितीयमस्ति ततो अन्यद् विभक्तं यद् वदेत् यद्वै तन्न शृणोति शृण्वन् वै तन्न शृणोति न हि श्रुतेः विपरिलोपो विद्यते अविनाशित्वात् न तु तद्वितीयमस्ति ततः अन्यद् विभक्तं यत् शृणुयात् यद्वै तन्न मनुते मन्वानो वै तन्न मनुते न हि मन्तुर्मतेर्विपरिलोपो विद्यते अविनाशित्वात् न तु तद्वितीयमस्ति ततः अन्यद् विभक्तं यन्मन्वीत यद्वै तन् यद्वै तन्न स्पृशति स्पृशन् वै तन्न स्पृशति न हि स्पृष्टुर्स्पृष्टेर्विपरिलोपो विद्यते अविनाशित्वात् न तु तद्वितीयमस्ति ततः अन्यद् विभक्तं यत् स्पृशेत् यद्वै तन्न विजानाति विजानन् वै तन्न विजानाति न हि विज्ञातुर्विज्ञातेर्विपरिलोपो विद्यते अविनाशित्वात् न तु तद्वितीयमस्ति ततः अन्यद् विभक्तं यद् विजानीयात्. So like this, Upanishad, first we saw only about the drishti, then it talks about jigrati means smelling, rasayate tasting, vadati speaking, srinoti hearing, manute thinking, sprishati touch, vijanati means cognizing, knowing. So all these things again samana manyate, like that Bhashyakara says, you have to understand it similarly to whatever we have explained for the drishti. Same way you have to understand for all other functions also of the indriyas. And here again, the not only the sense perception, even the like vak and all is given, correct, which is a karmendriya. And then antakarana also is mentioned by manas and the buddhi, vijanati. And here Bhashyakara puts one note. What is that? Okay. In fact, we'll just read Yadvai tanna jigrati, Yadvai tanna rasayate, Yadvai tanna vadati, Yadvai tanna shrinoti, Yadvai tanna manute, Yadvai tanna sprishati, Yadvai tanna vijaniti, iti, samana manyate. All these things are similar. Then manana vijnanayoho, drishyadi sahakaritvepi sati, चक्षुरादि निरपेक्षः भूत भविष्यत् वर्तमान विषय व्यापारः विद्यते इति पृथक् ग्रहणम्. So why is that this manana and also vijnana, so vijanati and all is said, was said separately? Means Bhashyakara says because they have uh, they have a dependence on the other sense organs normally, correct? But even when the other sense organs are not active, the mind itself can be active by itself. The antakarana can be active by itself. Okay, it has its own vyapara. That's why you are able to think, you are able to visualize, you are able to have emotions and know that, etc. Correct? So, or you are able to analyze and arrive at a certain conclusion. So, all these things are all possible. Therefore, even though in general they require the other sense organs to know something, they have their own separate vyapara, and it was there, it is there, it will be there also. Correct? Even in all periods of time, this these two things, the mind and the intellect, have their own vyapara. Therefore, they have been said separately here. Pritagrahanam. They have been mentioned separately. Okay, so that note he has given. Continuing what? Kim punaha drishtiyadinam agnehe aushnya prakashana jwalanadivate dharma bedaha ahosvit abhinnasya eva dharmasya paropadhi nimittam dharmani dharman dharmanyatvam iti. Okay. So now there is a question. Okay. See, like even fire has different qualities, correct? Different dharmas are there. What are those? We say that fire is hot, fire is bright, and fire also can have a flame, correct? There can be a fire without a flame, and it can also have a flame, dvalana. So like this dharma bheda is there in the fire. They are all not same also. In fact, like aushniam can only be felt by the tvak, but jwalana and prakasha can be seen by the eyes, correct? All these things are there. So like this, the dharma bheda is there in the fire, and therefore like that in atma also, does it have all these dharma? The seeing, hearing, etc. are all separate dharma of the atma, or atma is is only of one nature. These things are all because of upadhi. So ahosvit, that's what Bhashyakara says here. Otherwise what? Abhinnasya eva dharmasya paropadhi nimittam dharma anyatvam iti. So the atma's dharma are not separate or anything. There are no separate dharma of the atma like seeing, hearing, etc. Atma is of the same nature always, but due to the other upadhis like the karanas, correct, the eyes, etc. Due to them only the dharma anyatvam means what it is having different dharmas. Because of the upadhi only, the different qualities or different dharmas like seeing, etc. are associated with the atma. By itself, it doesn't, there is no dharma bhinna. There is only dharma abhinna. So, which is the thing, which is correct, okay, here. Because the Upanishad has talked about all these dharmas for the atma. Now here Bhashyakara brings in the view of Bhartru Prapancha, and he says, Atra kvachit vyachakshate atma vastunaha swataha eva ekatvam nanatvam cha. So some people, means here he's talking about Bhartru Prapancha only, who has written a vritti for this. So the atma also by itself, it has both ekatvam and nanatvam. It has both oneness and manyness. So it has oneness and multiplicity. Both are there in this one Atma Vastu, in one entity called this Atma. Like this, some people have described. Okay, some people have given commentary. And what is the analogy they are giving for this or logic? Yatha goho go dravyataya ekatvam sasnadinam dharmanam parasparataha bhedaha. So you take cow. Cow is one entity, correct? One cow you ask somebody to bring a cow, then they'll bring a cow. You ask them how many cows are there? There is one cow. So the go as an entity, correct? As a dravya, is one. There is one cow. But then if you start looking at its different parts, like we say, Sasanadi means that dewlap, correct? Mainly it is there only in Indian cows. If you take European cows and all that, they hardly have any dewlap. So all these different horns are there, whatever legs are there. So like this, so many parts are there. So different dharmas are there in the cow itself. And they are all different from each other. Parasparataha, Bhedaha is there between those parts. So now, but here we can say, this go is a gross thing, correct? It is the stula vastu. It cannot apply to Atma. So they expect that counter. So they say, Yatha stuleshu ekatvam nanatvam cha tatha niravayaveshu amurta vastushu ekatvam nanatvam cha anumeyam. So now they are saying, like, even we see for this go, even though the go is a stula vastu or a gross physical entity, Atma is not like that. Even the Upanishad is saying Atma is niravayava and Atma is amurta, it is formless, correct? It is partless, formless. Even though Atma is supposed to be partless and formless, we have to still infer or extend this, whatever we see for the grass cow, to also Atma, correct? So we have to do that Anumana, that inference, that Atma also should have oneness and manyness like even the cow. Why? Because he says, again, there also they have a logic. What is that? Sarvatra avyabhichara darshana atmanaha api. So this Atma is there everywhere, correct? We also say. And it is there invariably everywhere it is there. Avyabhichara darshana is there. Wherever you see, it is all Atma only, we say. Because it is Ananta. Therefore, there is Avyabhichara darshana is there. That means Atma is one. Because everything there. Because it is Jagat Karanam also. That means it is. These people also accept Upadana Karanatvam for Atma. Therefore, Atma being the Upadana, wherever you go in the Jagat or wherever you see something in the Jagat, it is all Atma only. Atma has to be there. The Upadana has to be there. Wherever the Karya is there, the Upadana Karana has to be there. So like that, if you take, Atma is there invariably everywhere. Okay, therefore, during sight also Atma is there. During hearing also Atma is there. During smelling also Atma is there. Like this, Drishtiyadinam Paraspara Nanatvam Atmana cha Ekatvam iti. So, because that is the case, like even the cow, here also, there are differences with reference to sight, etc. But Atma is still only one. Like this, Atma has Nanatvam and Ekatvam both. This is the argument, or this is the explanation which Bhartir Prapancha has given. Okay. So now Bhashyakara does not accept this. So what does he say? Nah. So he doesn't accept this. Anya Paratvat, he says. See, whatever the Upanishad is talking about, all this sight, hearing, smelling, etc., different things, they are all not to say that, to point out that Atma is really doing all these activities, but to point out something else. You have not even understood what the Shruti is trying to reveal. That's what he says. It is Anya Paratvam is there. Whatever it tries, the intention of the Shruti is not like what you are saying, to show that both Ekatvam and Nanatvam is there in the Atma. The intention of the Shruti, the Tatparya is different. What is that? Okay, he is going to tell that now. Nahi Drishtiyadi Dharma Bheda Pradarshana Param Idam Vakyam Yadvaitat Ityadi. So first he says, see this Yadvaitat, like this only, that we saw all the different Vakyas. They all are not there to say that this Atma is having all these different dharmas, correct? Like seeing, hearing, smelling, etc. That these separate dharmas, the two. Okay, Veda Darshana, Pradarshanam also. It is not for showing that separately all these qualities are there in Atma, like seeing, hearing, etc. These vakyas are not for that purpose. Then for what purpose they are there? Kim tarhi. Okay, but they are there for what? Yadi Chaitanya Atma Jyotihi Katham na janati sushupte. Okay, so it is only to show that why this Chaitanya Jyotis does not know anything in the sleep. Because during sleep, nobody knows anything. You get up also and say, I did not know anything. So then there is a doubt is there, correct? Whether anything was really there when you slept or not. Because the Buddhist is coming and saying there is shunya. Because you did not know anything, there was nothing. That is one argument or one opinion, correct? So that has to be answered. That Shanka is there, that doubt is there. Why, if the Atma itself is Chaitanya Jyoti, that is its very Swarupa, why he did not know anything in sleep? Katam na janati, how he did not know? Because, so, Nunam ataha na Chaitanya Atma Jyotihi ityevam ashanka praptau. Okay. See, how he did not know means, therefore what? Surely, indeed, then it cannot be Chaitanya Jyotis. Either you have to say that it is not Chaitanya Jyotis, therefore in sleep there was no Chaitanya Jyotis, so nothing was known. If Chaitanya Jyotis was there, it should have known something. That is the Shanka, correct? So how he did not know? Because if it was not, if it was there, it should have known. Therefore, now you say what? Indeed, it was not there. Na Chaitanya Atma Jyoti. So this Atma Jyotis is not there. Okay. So iti, in this manner, what? Ashanka praptau, there is a doubt is there. Therefore, what? To clear that doubt only, yadvaitat ityadi. So that yadvaitat, etc. has been said only for that purpose, correct? So tan nirakaranaya etad arabdham yadvaitat ityadi. So Bhashyakara says to remove that doubt. This has been started, this yadvaitat, etc. Okay. And so again here, so he is explaining yad asya jagrat swapnayoho chakshuradi aneka upadi dwaram chaitanya atma jyoti swabhavyam upalakshitam drishyadi drishyadi abhideya vyavaharaapannam sushupte upadi bheda vyapara nivrittau anudbhasyamanatvat anupalakshyamanas swabhavamapi upadi bhedena bhinnamiva. Okay, so this is a big sentence. So yad asya jagrat swapnayoho chakshuradi aneka upadi dwaram chaitanya atmajyoti swabhavyam upalakshitam. See, upalakshitam means what? It is characterized by, or it is understood as what? That this Atma is Chaitanya Jyoti Swabhava. It is of the nature of this awareness, consciousness, which is shining. Okay. And how did we know that? Because we are able to see, we are able to hear. Basically, we are conscious. And this consciousness itself can manifest only when the mind and the sense organs, which are all only conditioning factors, correct? They are all upadhi. So these upadhis are all active, and they are, and through them, the Atma is known as the seer, hearer, thinker, etc. And through that only we know that Atma is also conscious, because only a conscious entity can have all these functions. So this is there in Jagrat and Swapna, because there in the Jagrat and Swapna, these upadhis are there. They are there very much. They are manifest. Okay. So because of that, what the Atma can be characterized as Chaitanya Jyotis Swabhava, that it is of the nature of having this Chaitanya Jyotis. And that itself we know because of Drishyadi Abhideya Vyavaharapan. Because of this, all this, these different Vyavahara, these activities, from that only we can understand that Atma is of the nature of consciousness. But in Sushupti, what happens? Upadi Bheda Vyapara Nivrittau, when the Upadi Bheda is gone, okay, it has resolved, it has been withdrawn, or it has become unmanifest. Okay. So the separate upadhis, the conditioning factors are no more there, and their vyapara also is not there. Their activities have been stopped in Sushupti, and therefore they are not known. Anudbhasyamanam means what? There is no bhasa. They don't shine anymore. There is no cognition of anything, and therefore what? Anupalakshya manasvabhavam api. Upadi bhedena bhinnamiva. So, due to the Upadi bheda only, these things separately we saw, but it is not there anymore. It is not known. Okay, it is not characterized by the Upadi bheda. Therefore, this Atma is not available to be known. Therefore, these things were said that even when it is not seeing anything in sleep, still it can see, correct? It has the ability to see. So it is still seeing only in the sense that Atma is always awake. The sleep is only for the Karanas. Understand that. The Karana only resolves and goes into an unmanifest state. Atma is always as it is. And therefore, these things were said based on yatha prapta anuvadena, means, see, based on our normal experience, correct? Everyday experience we have, whatever is yatha prapta means as it is available to you, your experiences. Along with that, saying it is going along with that, and it is saying that even though nothing is seen there, but still it is seeing only. Even though nothing is heard, it is still hearing only. It is hearing, but there is nothing to be heard. That is the point. It is seeing, but there is nothing to be seen, means by saying all these things, the Shruti is only pointing out that Atma Swarupa remains unchanged. It is as it is. It doesn't change in any manner. Only thing is all this Upadi Bheda is no more there. So to point out that only that Atma Swarupa is always the same. Only this was said, but it was said in keeping with your Anubhava. Okay, Yatha Prapta Anuvadeneva Vidyamanatvam Uchyate means the capacity to see is still there. The capacity to hear is still there. Like that, hearing, seeing and all, even though it is Upadi Kritam, through the Upadi Dharma only, it is said that Atma's nature remains the same. Okay, the Vidyamanatvam means the ability to see, ability to hear, etc. are there. And again, tatra drishyadi dharma bheda kalpana vivakshitartha anabhignataya. So, but there if you say that no, Atma really has this sight and hearing, smelling, etc. If you imagine like that, then you are ignorant of actually what the Shruti is trying to reveal to you. So, vivakshitartha, that's what vivakshitartha means, the intent, whatever is the intended meaning that you don't know. And then you imagine that Atma has both Ekatvam and Nanatvam and all that, because Nanatvam has been negated in Atma explicitly in so many other places, correct? So Bhashyakara is pointing out now, Saindhava Ghanavate Prajnana Ekarasa Ghana Shruti Virodhacha. So there are Shrutis where we saw that Saindhava Ghanavate and all that, and also Prajnana Ghanam. The Atma itself is mentioned as Prajnana Ghanam means is homogeneous. It doesn't have any parts. It doesn't have any bheda. It is completely homogeneous. The Ghana means dense. But here the density, the dense without any qualification, it is dense means it is homogeneous. It is of the same nature throughout. There is no difference or anything in Atma. So it is Prajnana Ghana. It is one homogeneous conscious entity, partless whole. So that was revealed by the Shruti already. So if you say like this, it will go against that Shruti. And again, he is quoting all these other Shrutis also. So Vijnanam Anandam, Satyam Jnanam, Prajnanam Brahma, Ityadi Shrutibhyascha. So this Atma itself was revealed through words like it is Vijnana, it is Ananda, it is Ananda Swarupa. Again, this Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, Prajnanam Brahma. All these words were all used with reference to Atma. So this Atma is only Nyapti Matram or Jnana Swarupa, we have to say. It is of the nature of consciousness alone. These activities like seeing, hearing, etc. are only possible due to that consciousness. Therefore, with reference to that, we still say that Atma still can see. Like that, only to point out that the conscious nature of Atma never stops or it never goes away. In fact, he will now say that in a different manner beautifully, Bhashyakara. What is that? Let us see. So, Shabda Pravrittescha. See, even in language, there is something. Regular language, correct? What is that? The way we use the words. Laukiki cha Shabda Pravritti. So, even in the normal worldly usage of language and words, we say what? Chakshusha Rupam Vijanyati. Through eyes, I know colors, I know forms. Shrotrena Shabdam Vijanati. Through my ears, I know the sounds, correct, and words. Rasanena annasya rasam vijanati, and through the organ of taste, I know the taste of different foods. And then what? Iti cha sarvatra eva cha drishtadi shabda abhideyanam vijnana shabda vachyatam eva darshayati. So in all these places, there is no, 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 correct? Knowledge only is there. Jnana only is mentioned. With reference to every sense organ, we can say that that sense object is known through that sense organ. So knowledge alone is the pradhana everywhere. The cognition, the knowledge is the main thing. So even though the words like drishti, etc. are used, but it is pointing, indicating what? Knowledge or knowing only really. The seeing also is knowing, hearing is knowing, smelling is knowing. All of them are really knowing only, correct? So they are all Vijnana Shabda Vachyatameva. So like this, we have the usage in regular. Therefore, that itself is a pramana for us. So Shabda Pravrittischa Pramanam, and this usage of these words itself is the means of knowledge for us to understand what? That, that everything points to only one dharma of this Atma, the Swarupa, which is Jnana Swarupa it is. And in fact, to point out it's all only due to Upadhi, these different things or different words and activities are talked about. Bhashyakara again says Drishtanta Upapattescha. There is also Drishtanta to make you understand this. What is the Drishtanta? Yata hi loke swachha swabhavya yuktaha spatikaha tan nimittameva kevalam harita neela lohitadi upadi bheda sanyogat tat akaratvam bhajate. Okay, so like even in the worldly activities, what do we say? There is transparent, correct? Swachha swabhavya yuktaha. So swachha here means not pure, but pure and transparent we can take. So the spatika is a stone which is completely transparent, correct? So the spatika, and what, by itself it doesn't have any color. But if you keep something near it, what will happen? It will appear as green or blue or red, etc. Correct? Harita Neela Lohitadi Upadi Bheda Sanyogat Tan Nimittameva Tad Akaratvam Bhajate. So because of the whatever Upadhi, the different Upadhis which are coming into contact with that, because of them it appears in different colors. It takes that form, correct? Whatever colored object is there near it, then it takes that form. Tat akaratvam bhajate. But in reality, what? Nacha swachha swabhavya vyatirekana harita neela lohitadi lakshana dharma bheda. So because of that, you cannot say that the spatika itself is now having red color, blue color, etc. Correct? It is always transparent only. It is as it is. So in its nature, no difference have come, or it has not changed in any manner. But you can say that now it has acquired different colors, correct? The dharma bheda, different colors, etc. It is characterized, it can be characterized as having different colors, but in reality, it is as it is only, it is transparent. So dharma bhedaha spatikasya kalpayitum shakyante. Okay. So basically, even though you see different colors, you cannot really say that the spatika itself really has all these different dharmas. So the na shakyante, we have to add this na, you have to connect with this. So the dharma bedaha, the differences in qualities are really there in the spatika, you cannot say. Just because it appeared like that. Similarly, what tatha chakshuradi upadi bheda sanyogat prajnana ghana swabhavasya eva atma jyotishaha drishyadi shakti bhedaha upalakshyate. So similarly, what? This atma also, when it comes into contact with all these upadhis, different upadhis, like the mind and the different sense organs, so due to connection through them, or when you look at it through them, correct? From that standpoint, what it the prajnana ghana swabhava, its swabhava is only always one homogeneous conscious entity, correct? It doesn't change in any manner, even though it is the same swabhava, the Atma Jyotish. Still what? Drishyadi Shakti Beda Upalakshyate. So it is characterized as though it is seeing, it is hearing, and all that. Okay. So now even this Prajnana Ghana also is similar to the Spatika. So Bhashyakara says, Prajnana Ghanasya Swachha Swabhavya Spatika Swachha Swabhavyavad. So similarly, this Prajnana Ghana also is like the Spatika only. It is always pure and transparent, means it is always conscious. It is always of the same nature. Like even the Spatika is always transparent. Therefore, really there is no Dharma Bheda in the Atma. There cannot be any Dharma Bheda. Another point is what? Swayam Jyotishtvacha, because Atma is Swayam Jyoti, it is self-luminous. Now, how does this explain that it doesn't have different dharmas? So he says, Yathacha Aditya Jyotihi Avabhasya Bhedehi Sanyujyamanam Harita Neela Pita Lohitadi Bhedehi Avibhajyam Tad Akara Abhasam Bhavati तथा च कृत्स्नं जगत् अवभासयते चक्षुरादीनि च तदाकारं भवति. So like even you take the sunlight is always of one nature. At least if you have not split it through prism and all that, we are saying normal sunlight. But when it gets reflected on some color, correct, colored crystals, etc., then it appears either green, blue, all this, correct. It can pass through some crystal, and on the other side it can come as different color. So the reflected sunlight can have different colors. That doesn't mean that the that original sunlight itself has attained all those different colors, etc. So he is giving the sunlight getting reflected also as an example for this upadhi krita bheda. So the sunlight also can have similarly what green, blue, yellow, red, all these colors. It can appear. Abhasa means appearance, or it can be distorted like that. Okay, as different colors. Even though by itself that light is still the same light, same colored light, but it appears as though it is different colors. Similarly, what? This entire world, tathacha kritsnam jagate avabhasayate chakshuradini cha tadakaram bhavati. So, like even the sun always remains of the same color, even though its light, when reflected, shows different colors. Similarly, Atma remains the same. Always it is of the same nature, even though it appears differently through each indriya, correct? While the Chakshur Indriya is active, it is here. While the Shrotra Indriya is active, it is hearer. Like that, the different activities are superimposed on the Atma. Then it gets all those words designated. Okay, that is the idea here. So, Tatacha Kritsnam Jagata Avabhasayate. So, the Atma only lights up everything in the world, including eyes, etc., Chakshuradini, and cha tad akaram bhavati, so it takes their form. Okay. And it is also said what tatacha uttam atmana evayam jyotisha aste. So it was also said in this chapter only, previously in this Brahmana, the sixth Vakya. So atmana evayam jyotisha aste palyayate and all that it was said. So one sits only due to this atma jyotis and all that. So this was also already said. Further what? Nacha niravayaveshu anekatmata shakyate kalpayitum drishtanta bhavat. Also, if something is niravayava, something is partless, there you cannot imagine that there is multiplicity, okay, or manyness in that. Because the manyness in the cow is due to it is having different parts, correct? If something is partless whole, there you cannot imagine that it has many parts, etc. That you don't even have any drishtanta for that, any example to cite. And in fact, Bhashyakara takes up the exam, but sometimes all these Nayayikas and others, they talk about Akasha and Paramanu, etc. Okay. So, like Akasha has many gunas. They say Shabda Gunakam Akasham. And also it is all pervasive. That itself is a guna. Like these different gunas they imagine in the space. But even that Bhashyakara doesn't accept. So what does he say? We'll see. Yadapi Akashasya Sarvagatattvadi Dharma Bhedaha Parikalpyate Paramanvadinam cha Gandharasadya Aneka Gunatvam Tadapi Nirupyamanam Paropadi Nimittameva Bhavati. So, see, even this Akasha is imagined to have different qualities. Like it is, this all pervasiveness is a quality of Akasha, sound is a quality of Akasha, like that. So, like this, different qualities are imagined. Even for the Paramanu also, they say that there are different Paramanus. In fact, the Paramanu itself can have the quality of this Gandha, Rasa, etc. Okay, associated with each sense organ, whatever those those qualities, the gunas are there. The Paramanu is supposed to have all these different gunas. So, Gandha, Rasadi, Aneka Gunatvam also is there in the Paramanu. Like this, they say the Nayayikas. But all these things, if you see, it is only due to Para Upadi Nimitta. It itself cannot have all these different gunas. Particularly, Paramanu is the smallest quantum. There you cannot have division. That's what Bhashyakara is trying to say here. Once you have gone to the smallest level, the idea is that it is smallest because it cannot further be divided, correct? The smallest also has to be partless. If you talk about a single quantum, that single quantum itself cannot be further having parts, correct? Then it is not really the quantum. That is the idea here. So this is a very important point Bhashyakara is making. Similarly, space is the other end. Space pervades everywhere, you say, but that itself, again, is only from the standpoint of the objects which are in the space. You are saying it is pervading and all that. By itself, space is as it is. Right? It is indivisible. And it is not really pervading anything or anything. It is just giving, it is accommodating everything fine. But by itself, you cannot say that that is a particular guna which is there. That is all from the standpoint of the objects which are there in space. We say it is pervading and all that. So, it doesn't really do any action of pervading, etc. Understand that. So, it's all para upadi nimitta. It's all due to the para upadi only. Different upadis which are there due to that alone. Like this, you imagine that they have all these different qualities. So, both the infinite, that whatever which is like space is considered to be ananta or vibhu, at least it is all pervasive. And similarly, atom is the smallest quantum. Both cannot have parts. That is the idea here. Because if it is having parts, it is limited. Again, it cannot pervade everything also. There is a problem there. Understand? See, so Bhashyakara is giving a very subtle point here. Further he says, Akashasya tavat sarvagatatvam nama na swataha dharmaha asti. So he says, Akasha doesn't have any quality by itself called sarvagatatvam, that it is all pervasive, etc. There is no separate dharma or anything in the Akasha. But why do we say that? So he says, Sarvopadi samshrayad hi sarvatra swena rupena sattvam apekshya sarvagatatva vyavaharaha. So because what? This all the upadhis are there in it, correct? It is supporting all the different things. Different things are there in the space. And so based on that, Okay, it gives the avakasha, or it accommodates everything. And so based on the objects which it is accommodating, this we call that it is sarvagata and all that. It pervades everywhere, but by itself it doesn't have any quality called sarvagatatvam. It is also from the upadhi standpoint only you can say that. Why? Because see, the pervasion means it is as though it is spreading and covering or whatever, correct? It pervades when we say. So that you cannot take it as an action it is doing or anything. Understand that it has that dharma to pervade. So that's why Bhashyakara says, Natu akashaha kuchit gataha va agataha va swataha. So akasha did not go anywhere or come anywhere. It cannot go anywhere, in fact, really. Correct? There is no action in akasha itself. In the sense that you can do action in akasha. Other objects can have activity in the akasha, but akasha itself does not do any action or anything because it is always there everywhere. It is space, correct? So it doesn't go there or come here or anything like that. Therefore, what? Gamanam hinama deshantarastasya deshantarena sanyoga karanam sacha kriya naiva avisheshe sambhavati. So, even when you say gamanam, etc., movement or going somewhere, etc., you should not be there in one place. Then you can go to some other place, correct? So, you are in one place means you are not there in the other place. So, you can go from one place to the other. This is possible. So, that sanyoga karanam means what? The from one place to the other, what connects you is the action of going. Okay. But that is not possible for the akasha. Because in akasha, you cannot even separately say that this is one part of the akasha, that is another part of the akasha. There is no vishesha like that in akasha. Akasha is unqualified, unqualifiable, and it is indivisible. So such being the case, and it is the space means it is everywhere basically. So there is no question of anything, any action in it, or going here or going there. And therefore the dharma bheda, etc., whatever dharma bheda you can imagine, it is all only due to upadhi. So evam dharma bhedaha naiva santi akashe. So in the akasha, there are no different dharmas, and only couple of sentences are there. We'll see next week. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
धन्यवाद गुरुजी.